couple of things to go through first. First of all, this isn't exactly the best or most appropriate kit to be wearing when talking about another Serie A manager. Second of all, check this out. I can go sit in the corner of my room and it will track me. Can I just do videos from here now? And please ignore the state of the room. Crack on, let's. Fabian Hertzer is spoken about as the youngest manager in Europe's top 5 leagues. Or is he? Introducing a Spanish manager, of course he worked under Mikel Arteta at Arsenal. And this is Carlos Cuesta. He's 30 years of age. Wow. He took over the club after his predecessor Christian Kivu took over at Inter Milan. I mean, this shirt's kind of relevant. A club the Romanian was very, very successful with, of course, winning the Champions League in 2010. Let's see if he can replicate that success. I mean, getting knocked out to Bodo Glimt isn't ideal, but it shows Parma clearly have good talent ID for managers. So back to Cuesta, how is he doing as Parma manager? How do they set up? And is he a manager to really keep an eye on? Parma are currently sat 12th in Serie A with a record of 8 wins, 8 draws and 10 losses. And given the fairly mediocre last decade of the club, Cuesta is actually doing quite well. He's a manager that puts defence first. Being at a club like Parma, this is a very, very sensible approach, and it shows he can adapt. Being 5th for lowest average possession, 9th best for goals conceded per match, and also having won 9 clean sheets. So defensively he's doing okay, he knows how to grind a result out. However, their attacking stats leave a lot to be desired, to say the very least. 2nd lowest XG, 3rd lowest shots on target per 90, and having the 3rd worst goals per 90 ratio. In fact, they haven't scored more than 2 goals in a Serie A game this season. Yes, a boring team, but there's no doubt that they are overachieving, and hopefully, and they should, stay up. Against Milan, they sat off in their 5-3-2 or 5-2-3. Again, you can see their engagement line is very, very far off. I mean, look at how deep Strefeza, Pellegrino and Bernabe are, trying to protect players like Luka Modric, getting on the ball, having an impact on the game. And then off the ball was much more of a 5-4-1, but often what happened was Strefeza was dropping in and helping with overloads, and what often happened, he was a little higher up and trying to force the play more left. As you can see, it's more of a 5-3-2, and clearly they've lost the ball high here because Sasha Britsky, the right wing back, is very, very high on a Stupinian. And here Strefeza has jumped up to try and block this passing angle over here. And they're trying to force play down wide. As you can see, Pellegrino's high, Strefeza's high. Now, one of the things I've most been impressed about Parma is their low block shape. I mean, this is terrorism. This is their striker. This is their number 9, Matteo Pellegrino. A player I'm very big on, and I will come on to him in a minute. Again, a much deeper, much more compact 5-2-3. They're trying to protect these central spaces. This played very much into Parma's hands because Milan were trying to get players between lines. You look at Leao here, you look at Modric, who kept making runs from deep. There's a Stupinian high. Salamakas here has dropped deep in as well. And yeah, the whole idea was to try and protect these central areas and force play wide, which they did really, really well. And someone like a Stupinian, to say the least, he's not the most productive and hasn't been the most productive for AC Milan this season. They were reliant in this game anyway. They won this game via a set piece, and they really, really struggled to get out their half, as it has been against more aggressive, more high pressure teams. Most of their wins this season have been in situations where they're almost backs against the wall and they've managed to scrape a goal or two, which is both a good thing and maybe a concerning thing going forward, because it shows you how Cuesta can really grind out results. But a lot of the wins they have had, the opposition have had a red card or two. But this brings me very nicely onto some of their attacking play. How do they get forward? How do they attack? How do they play out? Most of their goals have come from crosses this season using the aerial dominance of Matteo Pellegrino. Yes, there have been a lot of penalties. There's been a lot of corners as well. But when you have such a good crosser of the ball like Emmanuel Valeri, you have to take advantage of these little things. And for example, Matteo Pellegrino's aerial dominance and his height and his jump. When you're a smaller team like Parma, you have to be taking advantage of these things. Yes, there is a bit of a reliance on individual moments as well, such as Adrian Bernabe. He's been providing a lot of those. But once again, it is something you have to maximise when you are a smaller team. You have to be more reliant on your more clutch players. But they're a fairly direct and pragmatic team. I mean, there's not a huge amount of emphasis on playing out. They're not very good under pressure, because when they do get pressed, they tend to just go long and rely on Pellegrino to win the first balls, and they're quite reactive to second balls. A lot of the time they end up not getting that second ball, and that's how they get pinned in, especially against bigger teams. Now onto their actual squad. They do have some very, very talented young players, and Cuesta had an important role at Arsenal in working with young players such as Ben White. If you manage to watch the Arsenal documentary from a few years ago, you will see a clip where Carlos Cuesta is helping Ben White and going through video analysis clips with him. I've mentioned Matteo Pellegrino Gasperini already a few times, and I really think he's the best out of the bunch. I mean, they've got some good young players, but he's the one I think who has the most potential. Yes, he is 24 years of age. He's not exactly young, but he's entering his prime years. He's still very raw, though. I think he needs more coaching from someone like Gasperini, and at Roma, especially where Evan Ferguson is expected to return to Brighton at the end of the season, they will need a striker, and Gasperini is the best striker coach in the world, or one of them at the very least. But to say the least, he needs to be careful with his next move if he really wants to push on and achieve his potential. And as mentioned, he's great in the air. 4 of his 7 goals this season in Serie A have been headers. He stands at 6'4", and as I said, has a brilliant leap on him. His all-round centre-forward play is really good. He can hold the ball up. He's really good in tight spaces. He can protect the ball. He's somewhat of a good dribbler and is able to win fouls as well, getting his team up the pitch. So he's a very good outlet in my opinion. There's Mandela Keita, a DM that top clubs are after. He can eat up ground really well. He's so good on the ball. He's great in tight spaces. He's really good under pressure and press resistance, which is a trait that you need to have as a midfielder nowadays, especially when teams want to play more vertically and more under pressure and invite the press. He's a great ball winner too, and great in duels. I think he's top, and people will really find out about him this summer. I think he'll get a good move. There's Sasha Britsky, a 19-year-old right wing back in his first season in professional football. Zion Suzuki, of course, one of the most sought after young goalkeepers in Europe. Alessandro Sakati, Oliver Sorensen, Benjamin Kramaski, of course we know about him from Inter Miami, and Christian Ordonez as well. All players with good resale value or can help the club in the future. So is Carlos Cuesta the truth? I think we'll find out in years to come. This is only the start of the Parma project and the project under Carlos Cuesta's reign. This season is very much about staying up and trying to establish some solidarity in Serie A. He's just working with what he has at the moment. I think it will be very interesting to see where Parma are in the summer window, and after the summer window next season, maybe it can be another case of Como. Maybe next season Carlos Cuesta wants to play in a more bold way and attacking way. Like, subscribe, comment and share the video.